Okay, let's watch this. Valorant versus CSGO. A brutally honest comparison. Oh, but this is CSGO, not CS2. Oh, he made a new video about CS2. I'm gonna watch this one. Let's see.
CSGO versus Valorant, the new Halo versus Call of Duty. If you're in either community, you're already aware of this trend of Counter-Strike players trashing Valorant, but is Valorant really as bad as Counter-Strike players make it out to be, and is CS truly this perfect utopia that simply can't be matched? Today we are going to be comparing CSGO and Valorant, discussing the pros and cons of playing each game, and while the conclusion may be my opinion, I still hope this comparison video helps you determine your own. First, let's start with the similarities. I'm going to assume you know how at least one of these games works, so I'll just make this quick. Both are based on an old style of tactical shooter where sprinting really isn't a thing, aiming down sights with rifles doesn't do much, and both use the bomb defusal game mode as their main competitive mode. The differences are what this video is going
Okay.
to be highlighting the most. Counter-Strike has a set of weapons and utility that everyone can use, with a few exceptions of some rifles being exclusive to either the terrorist or counter-terrorist side. Even some of the utility has some variants depending on what side you're on. Valorant is a bit of a different story. All the weapons can be purchased on any side across the board, but utility is limited to what agent you pick due to the game being a hero-based shooter, so only certain agents can use flashes, smokes, grenades, or stuns. These abilities also have
Pretty sure
some
they are
gimmicks to
separated in groups. The ones that can smoke, the ones that can do this, the ones that can do the other things, shit like that. Some others can do something different. For example, la flashbangs, Valorant. A one attack. What are they called? The attackers. One of them can flash like Reina, Phoenix, but also someone that uses smokes like Omen can flash. Others like Sky can also flash. So not everything is in like specific groups, but some things are. Not everything, but some things. Some others are available to all of the categories, like
help.
Sentinels. Um, I don't know the names. That's the only one that I named for the Valorant team because of them is the same.
How they work. For example, Phoenix's flashes curve around walls while KO's work like normal
Okay,
Counter
for
Strike
example, yeah.
flashbangs. There are also flashes that are physical objects that can be shot down before they activate, like Reyna's Eye and Sky's Bird. Each agent is also assigned one of four roles: the duelist, which usually
Duelist,
frag out a
okay.
lot, controllers, which usually play
Control,
smokes, sentinels, which defend and watch flanks with their utility, and initiators play for
Initiator.
info. Talking about the abilities is how you could tell someone has or hasn't played Valorant before. I see this a lot with Counter-Strike players. They usually say that it's just Overwatch all over again, when no, it's nothing like Overwatch. What are you talking about? Most of the abilities are just variations of smokes, stuns, flashes, and Molotovs. They usually quote the wall hacks and Raze's rocket launcher, but the wall hacks are easily counterable by simply shooting them or hiding from them, and the rocket launcher is an ultimate. You have to get a certain amount of points for them, and they can only be used once. Not only that, you know when your opponents have it and can hear when it's activated, so you're never caught off guard. You can also counter this by simply hiding or killing the Raze before she shoots it. Same thing goes with the other ultimates. You know when they're coming and they're all easily counterable. I also think people overcomplicate the abilities in general. When Deadlock was revealed to the world recently, everyone and their mother was claiming that she was the most overpowered broken piece of shit the
And
game
nobody
has ever
plays it.
seen, but once people actually started to play as her, pretty much everyone changed their minds to the point where some people would even consider her useless. Going back to Counter-Strike, you could kind of do all of the above at your will. You could smoke, flash, throw Molotovs and grenades. Obviously, you can't do the wacky stuff like the eyes, the rocket launchers, and the dogs. I mean, you could kind of bait your players, but try not to be a dick and do that too much. I see pros and cons
No,
to both
keep doing it.
methods. On Counter-Strike's end, you're not limited to a role, meaning if you're someone who can adapt to any role you're
You technically do have a role in Counter Strike. You do. I'm pretty sure it's mostly the support role, but you do have a role. The upper, the rifler, the the lurker. You do have a role in this game.
team needs, you can do so. The con is that there's nothing telling players what roles they're good at, meaning if you have players that only play ops or only play support and you need someone else in another role and they just won't do it, you're kind of screwed. On Valorant's end, you have a clear set of roles you could pick, learn, and understand what role best suits you. It also makes it a bit easier to form a good composition at the beginning of the round. The con is that if your teammates or yourself suck at the roles everyone picked, you're stuck with that role for the rest of the game. And if you need certain utility for a clutch situation and you're an agent or role that simply can't do that, you better pray that you have the aim to make up for it. I don't think this is a game issue on any end. I think this is more of a solo queue issue because both can be easily fixed by simply queuing with friends. But if you're someone like me who's been a solo queue warrior all their life, you know that's not always possible. Another big difference is how the weapons work. In Counter-Strike, every gun aside from pistols have a set spray pattern. If you practice the pattern enough, you could use it to spray your opponents down consistently. In Valorant, it only does it halfway. The vertical part of the weapon spray patterns are consistent, but the horizontal parts are random, meaning spraying down your opponents is only really viable if your opponents are at close range, which is why good Valorant players rely more on burst firing their weapons. It also helps that the hitboxes for Valorant's player models are slightly bigger than Counter-Strike's, meaning the headshots are going to be easier to hit. Personally, I prefer consistent spray patterns since it makes burst firing and spraying viable, so I think Counter-Strike takes the cake here. Movement is also different. In simple terms, Counter-Strike is faster while Valorant is slower. Counter-Strike also has more freedom when it comes to movement. You could do things like airstrafe,
I actually expected Valorant to be faster than CS. Okay.
boost players, and B-hop if you're good enough. You could kind of do this in Valorant, but through abilities. B-hopping is Raze's job. Surfing is made up for Neon sprint and slide. Boosting can be done with Sage's wall. And while airstrafing is a thing for every player, it doesn't give you a velocity boost like it does in Counter-Strike. Map design is something I don't want to touch on too much since I'm not an expert and I don't think it's a fair comparison to begin with. Counter-Strike's maps have had 20 years to develop and they don't have to deal with an ever-changing meta. So clearly Counter-Strikes are going to be better. Map design in Valorant has to account for abilities and they've only had 3 years or less of existence. It's like comparing 20-year-old supermodels to toddlers. The toddlers are still developing. They're going to have issues. Some may remain into adulthood if they have shitty creators. Thankfully, Valorant is being raised well, but only time will tell how things will pan out. I will say this though, I actually prefer Valorant's map rotation better than Counter-Strike's. I personally don't think any of Valorant's maps are just flat out bad, as they depend on the person's playstyle. The map rotation also forces people to actually learn the maps instead of Counter-Strike where you could play it safe and only rank up with the maps you're most comfortable with while never learning any of the other ones. It's kind of the reason why Vertigo was forced into pro play. Valve knew the map wasn't perfect, but player feedback made it a better map. But if no one queued for it because it was trash...
1 second. Okay, I'm sorry for that. Let's keep watching the video.
It would have never improved. Now Vertigo is one of my favorite maps in the competitive map pool. It's the same concept with Valorant. I hated Fracture at first, but as soon as I learned what agent works well with it, the map is much more enjoyable. It just takes time and a bit of experimentation. Okay, here's a big one, the communities. I'm pretty sure everyone is aware of the let's make spike together, one A main, flashing A main. Oh! And the
I prefer this. I prefer this. This is more fun.
I know there's going to be those people that would rather have the toxic Counter-Strike players over the cringe E-dayers of Valorant, but both 100%. Equally suck in my opinion. And if you're either one of these people, please get therapy. You are not right in your head. Thankfully, these are very rare on both ends. Most of my ranked games in both games are pretty much the middle ground, where it's mainly chill, with people giving callouts, with a conversation here and there. I also believe that region plays a big role in this. I always hear European players saying that CS is the chill, fun game, while everyone in Valorant is a toxic piece of shit. Here in North America, it's the exact opposite. CS is the toxic piece of shit game, while Valorant is the chill one. The rank you are also plays a big role. I'm a high plat, low diamond player as of recording this video. In my ranked matches, I have yet to bump into an E-couple, femboy, or whatever the hell you see on TikTok.
I'm pretty sure all of them are in Sendan. Sendan is the rank that all of them are there. I'm pretty sure.
these days. Same with Counter-Strike. The higher I am, the better the experience is. I'm currently MG1, and I rarely bump into those people that just blast racial and sexual slurs in the voice chat and just completely throws the game. My point is that whatever you see on TikTok or YouTube is not what you actually experience within the game. How skins work might not seem like a big deal for some, but I feel like I should talk about it just in case. CSGO uses loot boxes. Players either pay for a case or they receive them through drops and pay for a key to unlock the case. The weapons you get are based on tiers. The higher the tier, the rarer it is to get, with the rarest tier being a knife or gloves. If you don't like the skin you got or simply want something else, you could sell it on the community market for digital currency. You could use anywhere on the Steam store, or you could trade it with someone or an online bot through a skin trading site. Valorant took a different approach by having skins available through either a store or a battle pass. The store uses two different methods: bundles and a row of skins that refreshes every 24 hours. The skins in the store tend to be a little expensive for most people's taste, but that's where the battle pass comes in. For just $10, you have a linear progression system of skins, banners, titles, sprays, and Radiantite points. Personally, I really don't care that much about skins in general, and I don't understand modern gamers' obsession with them. I also hate gambling in general. I don't like my rewards being based on luck and chance. And while the skin market is nice, it does stem from loot boxes and suckers that get unlucky and unbox skins that are only a fraction of what the case and key was worth to begin with. Valorant skin prices are still expensive for most people's
1 second.
taste, but at least I know what I'm buying. And even then, the $10 battle pass alternative is well worth it if you're an active player or just starting out and want to slowly build a loadout. I feel like it's a pick your poison kind of situation, but I think modern gamers' unhealthy obsession with skins is the real issue here. In-game cosmetics are like clothes to me. I don't buy a shirt because it has some
Bro,
market
what?
value.
This guy
I
playing
buy them
against
because
bots?
it looks good and it feels comfortable to wear. I don't think I've ever sold a piece of clothing in my life, and I doubt I ever will. At most, I just give it to the Salvation Army. I've been wearing the same pair of Jordans since 2021, and I will continue to do so until they get so ruined to the point where I physically can't wear them anymore. So I don't care if a skin is going to be worth double the price in 10 years. That's not what I buy skins for. But at the same time, I don't think anyone should be paying upwards of $100 for bundles of skins. I just think that's way too expensive. I think both have their pros and cons. It just depends on what style you like and what you're willing to tolerate. The user experience between the two games is arguably the biggest difference and can make or break a person's enjoyment with these games. Valve's history with CSGO has not been great, even with their recent efforts with CS2. For most of CSGO's lifespan, it was treated like a middle child, mostly forgotten and only got attention when it needed attention. Valve also half-assed basically everything with CSGO. Servers were stuck at 64 tick, and they still are. The ranking system is still based on Glitgo 2, which has already proven itself to be an extremely flawed system. And the anti-cheats, while not as bad as some people make it out to be, it's still not good enough for a competitive focused game. If you want the best possible CSGO experience, you basically have to use a third-party service like Faceit or ESEA, which gives you 128 tick servers, an ELO-based system, and an anti-cheat that actually works. Compare that to Valorant, where all you have to do is press the play button at the main menu and you get the best experience even pros use with 128 tick servers, an ELO-based ranking system, and Vanguard, one of the strongest anti-cheats anyone's ever seen. The relationship between Valve and the community is also extremely one-sided. The
I
success
mean, I'm
of
pretty
CSGO
sure
was
the Valorant 128 is a little not real. It's not like 100% 128. I'm pretty sure, but at least it's 128. So hey, that's good, I guess.
a bit too good, to the point where Valve didn't really do much with the game, and who could blame them? The ARMS deal update created one of the biggest online gaming markets in history. Valve literally makes millions of dollars a day off of skins alone, and since Valorant didn't exist for most of CSGO's lifespan, all the issues CS players were dealing with weren't being addressed, at least not officially. Unranked matchmaking doesn't exist? Join a community server. Is our ranking system extremely flawed and unfair? Well, Faceit and the ESEA exist if you don't like it. If you wanted to quit CSGO, there was really no other alternative aside from its predecessors, so Why try to be better when you're already at the top with no one to stop you? Don't get me wrong, these third-party services and community servers are amazing to have, but it feels like the community is doing all the work while Valve and Gaben are just sitting on a couch smoking a cigar watching the money flow. Riot clearly saw the flaws with CSGO and made sure they didn't make the same mistakes. Say what you want about Valorant's gameplay, but you can't deny that Riot clearly loves their games and their communities way more than Valve does with theirs. And it shows with the amount of work they put into fixing issues with their games, the amount of updates they
Ooh.
put towards the game, their marketing
Oh.
strategies, and their
And
esports
see.
scene. I mean,
Oh, the
shit,
esports
pretty
scene.
much every agent reveal
Yeah.
has gone trending on YouTube at one point due to how good they tend to be. You're basically guaranteed some form of content every act. The servers are premium grade across all game modes, and the VCT is simply mind-blowing. Even during the global pandemic with no crowds and limited interaction between the players, I was always blown away with how much effort Riot put into their production for the Pro League, and it's only gotten better since then. Yes, CSGO majors and even some premier events tend to be bigger with similar production, but they've also had 20 years to get to where they are now. For the 3 of Valorant's existence with less than 1 year of having live crowds, it's doing extremely well, and I can
That's
only
true.
expect it to get even bigger and better as time goes
You
on.
only need to look at the League of Legends one to know it's gonna be huge. We are right now in Worlds days. I'm pretty sure the song came out. I need to react to the song. I need to see the other one, the Heart Seeker or something like that, also came out. Um, the final is gonna be huge. Last year final was again. Who played the final last year? T1 and the other team that won DRX or something like that. That shit was insane. So yes, Valorant is gonna be the same because you can say that Riot, or not Riot, Valve has 20 years of experience. But Riot also has 13 or 14 years of experience with League of Legends. So it's not 100% fair to say that, oh, Valve has 20 years, Riot only has 3. No, 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 no. They has 14 years of experience or 12, 13, I don't care. They still have a lot of experience with other game, with another game. Yes, sure, but still they have experience with competitive games, with a type of competitive scene. So I mean, I think it's fair. I don't think it's don't is you should say, oh, CS:GO or Valve have more experience than Riot. I personally don't think so, but no.
On. In the end, it comes down to personal preference and how much you're willing to tolerate. CSGO may be the better game mechanics wise, but the process to getting a proper experience can be a nightmare, and it might not be worth it for some. Valorant might not be as good mechanics wise, but the barrier to entry is significantly easier to get through. Either way, I do think both sides should give one another a real fair chance at each other's games. Don't be that guy that completely shits on one game without even trying it while praising their preferred game like it's a perfect utopia, because neither of them are perfect. I notice this a lot with Counter-Strike players, and it's the one thing I don't like about the CS community. They're very stubborn and not open to change. Valorant is all about change, so as you can imagine, the CS community is just going to take every opportunity to dunk on the game. To be fair, this isn't necessarily a CSGO and Valorant issue, it's more of a Valve elitism issue. They do the same thing with League of Legends, Overwatch, Rainbow Six Siege, but it's worse now with Valorant because it's an actual competitor, unlike the other games that were completely different genres. I know it sounds like I'm just fighting against the CS community while being a white knight to Valorant, but I love the Counter-Strike community. I still watch the majors, I still watch the premieres, I still play Counter-Strike. But really, when was the last time Valorant tried to dunk on Counter-Strike? The Valorant community doesn't really care that much. They just want to play their game in peace. I personally split my time between both games, and I genuinely enjoy both of them, so I can't make a definitive choice. At this moment in time, I'm playing a lot more Valorant since there really isn't much of an incentive for me to play CSGO.
Because the new
Counter-Strike 2 is
game,
nice, and I am excited for it, but I
yeah.
don't have access to it, just like everyone else watching
I
this
mean, this video
video.
is a
My
couple months months
advice to
old.
anyone
So
watching this video is to not play what's better, but play what makes you happier. If you enjoy CSGO more than Valorant, play CSGO. If you enjoy Valorant more, play Valorant. Neither side should shame each other for having a preference. So that is going to be it for today's video. This did take me a while to make. I think it's been like a week and a half since I started. So if you made it this far, I appreciate you. Leave a like, leave a comment down in the comments below, subscribe for more content, and I'll talk to you all later.
okay, that was a good video. The only part that I didn't like was the Valorant only has 2 or 3 years of experience competitive with the competitive scene, because it's not really true. Not about, I'm not talking about Valorant. I'm talking about Riot Games. They have a lot of experience, probably more or even better than Valve, because I'm pretty sure Valve, they don't even make the majors and the summits on all of those tournaments. I'm pretty sure that's made by Blast and all of these like companies. So Riot, they are the ones that make Worlds, DMSI. I'm pretty sure they are the ones that make all of those. Maybe DMSI not, but all of those, the other ones, they are the ones that are behind that, behind them. So, and that has like more than 10 years of experience. They have more than 10 years of experience doing that. So that is why Valorant actually worked when Overwatch and Rainbow Six and all of these games didn't, because Riot, they know what they're doing. It's as simple as that. That's probably the only part that I didn't really like, because Riot has the experience. It doesn't matter if Valorant is 2 years, 3 years old. They still, the company still have the experience. So yeah, the rest of the video I enjoyed it. It was pretty good. I'm gonna watch this another day and save it. With the CS2 is 3 weeks old.